All right. The morning, everybody. The time is 10 o'clock, and I'll call the May 16th, 2024 Planning Board meeting to order. We are joined by our Vice Chair Bailey. Good morning.
Good morning.
And we have Commissioner Washington.
Good morning.
And Commissioner Giraldo.
Good morning.
And I'm Chair Shapiro. Please note that the deadline for all participants pre-registration for all submission of materials and exhibits was 12 noon on the Tuesday before this planning board meeting. Registered speakers may join the meeting with a link provided in the email provided by the planning board office or listen by phone by utilizing the call-in number provided in the email. Of course, anyone may tune in to watch our meetings via live stream. If you wish to speak or become a person of record, you may use our online web form, which you'll see referenced on the screen before you. In addition to our commissioners, we are joined by our Associate General Counsel, Ms. Tallarico. Good morning, Ms. Tallarico. And we also have Jessica Jones, our Planning Board Administrator, and James Hunt, the Division Chief for the Development Review Division. Good morning, James. We have staff members Kenneth Flanagan and Ryan Croner helping us with technology behind the scenes, as always, quite ably. In terms of our order of cases, commissioners, we're going to go in the order as listed with the two changes. When we get to our regular agenda items, we're going to start with item 10 and then item 8. And then we'll have item 5, 6, 7, 9. And with that, let's go on item 2, which is the draft minutes. I'd look for a motion to approve the draft minutes of May 2nd, 2024.
Motion to second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Washington, second by Vice Chair Bailey. If there's no discussion of the motion, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Vice Chair Bailey.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
I vote aye as well. The ayes have it 4-0. No legislative items this week. We're now going to go into executive session briefly. My guess is it's going to take about 15 minutes tops. Pursuant to the general provisions article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, Article 3-305, subsection 2-3, a closed session is proposed to discuss the acquisition of real property for a public purpose and matters related thereto, and for the purpose of protecting the Commission's negotiating position. So to that end, I would look for a motion to go into executive session.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Giraldo, a second by Vice Chair Bailey. There's no discussion on the motion. I'll call the roll. Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
Vice Chair Bailey.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
I vote aye as well. The ayes have it 4-0. So I'll see you all in executive session. And again, for the public and others, we will be back in about 15 minutes. Thanks.
Okay.
Y'all can hear me okay?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. Don't ask me why. I deleted the link to the open session. All right, we're good to go. We're back in open session. Next item on our agenda is item 3C. This is a Parks and Rec item, land use stage agreement, City of Bowie. We have Mr. Sun, who will be talking us through this. I'll turn it over to you. Am I right? Yes, there we go. All right.
Wait a minute, Mr. Chair. It seems like we're having a sound issue with Mr. Sun's connection there.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Paul, we don't hear you. We see you and your mic's on, but we don't hear you. Still not.
Is that better?
Yes, now we can hear you. Perfect.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No worries. Take it away.
Good morning, Chair Shapiro and fellow planning board members. For the record, my name is Paul Sun, Land Acquisition Specialist, Department of Parks and Recreation. We're here today to present a land exchange agreement with the City of Bowie. Mr. Joe Meinhardt is here from the City of Bowie, should there be any questions or comments. Next slide, please. Just by way of background, in 2006, the full commission approved a land exchange with the city of Bowie for parkland located in the city of Bowie at our Mount Oak Park, which is undeveloped and located on Mount Oak Road, approximately a quarter mile east of its intersection with Church Road. Mount Oak Park also abuts Collington Branch Stream Valley Park to the east. Next slide, please. In return, the commission was to receive 61.41 acres of land called the Cora Bowie property. The property is located at the end of Mill Branch Road, outside the city limits, approximately 1 3/4 miles southeast of our Green Branch Park, which is currently under design. This property adjoins our Patuxent River Park, is heavily forested and contains approximately 1,800 linear feet of frontage along the river, almost 1/3 of a mile river frontage, for potential recreational uses. From what I understand, this property was purchased by the city of Bowie in 1981 for a sewage sludge site, but the city never moved forward with that use. Next slide, please. Here's a map showing the relationship of the location of the two properties as discussed. However, the agreement was ultimately terminated. Ultimately terminated as the city of Bowie was looking to construct a public works yard at Mount Oak property, which became non-viable. Next slide, please. Fast forward to 2018. The city of Bowie requested a restart of the prior proposal. We started by getting appraisals on the property. During our due diligence, we discovered discrepancies with the prior approval, as there was incorrect parcel IDs and acreages, along with one of the parcels being encumbered by Program Open Space Covenants, or POS. Nonetheless, the negotiations stalled as the appraisals indicated that the commission property was worth more than the city of Bowie's property. And we never reached a consensus how to mitigate that. Next slide, please. So fast forward again to last summer, 2023. DPR staff opened up negotiations again, and we omitted the POS parcel, as you see in green there in the middle right. And we corrected the list of properties we exchanged. The total amount of commission property disposed was revised from 69.3 acres to 56.3 acres. Next slide, please. The city of Bowie's property would still remain the same, the Cora Bowie site along the Patuxent River. One more slide, please. Here's a summary of the exchange proposal. We are disposing 56.3 acres and we're receiving 61.4 acres. We're receiving almost 5 additional acres of land, which corresponds to a higher value. So next slide. In 2023, the city of Bowie council agreed to the land exchange proposal, and with their approvals, added condition that the Cora Bowie site shall be conveyed to commission with covenant restriction that the property can only be used for public park and recreational purposes. DPR staff agreed with this condition and felt that the exchange would still benefit the commission. DPR, the Department of Parks and Recreation will be receiving a signature land asset that is contiguous with the Patuxent River Park, and the Mount Oak property is not currently being used. Next slide. DPR staff recommends approval of this land exchange agreement. Please note that this is a disposal of land and final approval will be required by the full commission. In closing, should the planning board decide to approve this agreement, We respectfully ask for same-day resolution adoption later today. This concludes staff's presentation. We're available to answer any questions that anybody would have.
Thank you, Mr. Sun. Mr. Minor, good to see you. Anything you want to add or speak to on this item?
Thank you and good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Board. I'm Joe Minor, the Planning Director for the City of Bowie. I really don't have anything to add, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to thank Mr. Sun for all of his diligent work on this, and we're very pleased to present this to you today and hope for your approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner, sounds like a great bit of work over many, many years. Glad we've come to terms on this in ways that benefit the commission, the county, the city, all players. Any questions or concerns, observations, comments? Nothing. If not, I would look for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the land exchange agreement with the city of Bowie to include the condition as detailed and discussed by staff.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Washington, seconded by Commissioner Giraldo. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
Vice Chair Bailey.
Vote aye.
I vote aye as well. The ayes have it 4-0. Thank you, Mr. Minor. Thank you, Mr. Sun.
Thank you.
Okay, next are consent agenda items. Anybody who wishes to oppose staff's recommendations on these items 4A, B, and D, or any board member wishes to discuss any of the items? If not, I would look for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, after consideration of the record for items 4A and 4B, I move adoption of staff findings and approval of these items on the consent agenda in accordance with the recommendation of staff.
As a friendly amendment, we need to add 4D as well, which was
4D, yes.
Yeah, recent change. And that's the draft resolution for the land exchange. So that's the maker of the motion is fine with that. Is there a second?
Second.
We've got a motion by Vice Chair Bailey, a second by Commissioner Washington. Ms. Tellerico, anything you wanted to add, or is that the same thing?
It was the same thing. We're good. Thank you.
Good. If there's no discussion on the motion, I'll call the roll. Vice Chair Bailey.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Washington.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
I vote aye as well. The ayes have it 4-0. We will now move on to our regular agenda items. Again, we're going to shift the order a little bit. We're going to do items 10, then 8. Then we'll go through the other items in the regular order. So starting with item 10, extension request for preliminary plan 4-21010 Marlboro Gateway. Just to note that this preliminary plan of subdivision was approved by Planning Board on July 7, 2022. It's valid through July 28, 2024. And Mr. Tedesco, by letter and email, requested a 1-year extension of the approval. If we approve this, the preliminary plan of subdivision will be valid through July 28, 2025. We have Ms. Gupta who will talk us through this briefly from the staff perspective. Then Mr. Tedesco may have something to add. Ms. Gupta?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Doing a quick sound check.
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
And you stole my thunder. You took away my script, essentially.
Oh,
So, as you said, this is item number 10, and this is an extension request for 4-21010 titled Marlboro Gateway. And as you said, this plan is valid till July 28, 2024. And if you approve this 1-year extension request, the PPS will be valid through July 28 or 2025. And section 24-119D of the prior subdivision regulations authorizes the planning board to grant an extension to the normal expiration of a preliminary plan when certain criteria are met. And these criteria and their findings are listed in the staff memorandum that's in your backup. And based on staff's findings, staff recommends that the planning board grant a 1-year extension for preliminary plan of subdivision 4-21010 pursuant to sections 24-119D5A, Romanet 1 through 5 of the prior subdivision regulations. This concludes staff's presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Gupta. If there's no questions for staff, check in with the applicant, Mr. Tedesco. Anything you want to add?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can.
Good morning. For the record, Matthew Tedesco at the law firm of McNamee-Hosey here on behalf of the owner, Green Century Green Century Partners LLC. Also with me is Kevin Setzer on behalf of the owner. As Mr. Chairman stole Ms. Gupta's thunder, Ms. Gupta has since stole my thunder. So we would submit on our written request pages 2 through 6 of your backup and just respectfully request the approval of the 1-year extension. Certainly want to thank Ms. Gupta for her thorough review and recommendations in this case and for this extension. And with that, happy to answer any questions, but would respectfully request the approval as provided in our written request. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, if there's no questions for staff or for the applicant, I would look for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the analysis of staff and approve the 1-year extension of PPS 4-21010.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Washington and second by Commissioner Giraldo. If there's no discussion on the motion, then I'll call the roll. Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
Vice Chair Bailey.
Vote aye.
I vote aye as well. The ayes have it 4-0. Thank you, Mr. Tedesco and Ms. Gupta. We'll now move on to item 8. Specific design plan SDP 1901-02 Preserve at Westphalia. This is a request for a continuance to July 11, 2024. If I'm understanding that correctly, we have the staff presentation, such as it is, will be by Natalia Gomez Rojas.
Yes, but Natalia is on leave, so I am taking it over today. So I am Ho Jung Garland.
We have Ms. Garland who will be giving the staff presentation, and then Mr. Tedesco may have something to add. Ms. Garland, take it away.
That's great. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the Planning Board. For the record, I am Ho Jung Garland with the Urban Design section. Item number 8 is a specific design plan, SDP 1901-02, Preserve at Westphalia, which is requested to amend the previously approved SDP-1901 for the development of an approximately 5,888 square feet community building, a swimming pool, and parking lot on a portion of Parcel R. This amendment also includes minor adjustment to previously approved landscaping and revisions to recreational facilities on Parcel A and Parcel H, which is consistent with the prior approvals. The applicant has requested a continuance until July 11, 2024 to allow the approval and the receipt of the pending amendment site development concept plan from DPI. With this request, applicant has provided a 70-day extension to the Planning Board action limit, which is now expires on July 16, 2024. Staff recommends that the Planning Board approve the request for continuance to July 11, 2024. This concludes the staff presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garland. Commissioners, no questions for staff. And let's see if the applicant has anything to add. Mr. Tedesco.
Again, Mr. Chairman, just very briefly for the record, Matthew Tedesco, the office is McNamee-Hosey in Greenbelt on behalf of Stanley Martin Homes, LLC, who is the owner and applicant for this project. Just want to thank Ms. Garland as well as Ms. Rojas for their anticipatory review of this application. We are very excited actually to bring this case before you. I think you guys are going to be extremely impressed with what we have with respect to the additional clubhouse and amenity features associated with the Preserve at Westphalia, now referred to as Overlook at Westmore. It's in various stages of development, and we're anxiously pursuing building permits for the housing, but improving upon the recreational amenity features with this amendment. So not to steal the thunder from that future case, but we are very excited to bring it before you. But as Ms. Garland indicated, we are working very closely with your staff, both urban design, environmental planning. We do have a site development concept plan approved. However, it is in various it is being amended pursuant to DPI's request. And staff has just requested that that be obtained before we move this forward, which we have agreed with. And so the requested date to June 11th is simply just to accommodate the receipts from DPI of the approval of the site development concept plan. But we are anxious and excited to bring this case before you and look forward to June 11th to do just that. And assuming today's continuance is requested, but with that, we would happy to answer any questions, but respectfully request the approval. And last thing I'll say, thank you for the accommodation on scheduling for these first two matters. With that, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your time and consideration.
So I got a question, Mr. Tedesco. You keep referring to June 11th. You mean just July 11th, right?
If I said June, I certainly did misspeak. We do mean July. I apologize. Okay. My birthday's in June. I guess I just have June on the brain. So I apologize. Yes, June 11th. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Commissioner. If there's no questions for staff or for the applicant commissioners, I would look for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the request for continuance of SDP-1901-02 to Planning Board hearing date of July 11, 2024.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Washington, a second by Commissioner Giraldo. Any discussion on the motion? If not, I will call the roll. Commissioner Washington.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
Vice Chair Bailey.
Vote aye.
I vote aye as well. The ayes have it 4-0. Thank you, Mr. Tedesco. Thank you, Ms. Garland.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You as well. You as well. Now move to item 5 on our agenda, specific design plan SDP 9802-H9, Cameron Grove, Lot 30, Block A. Whitney Gischel is representing the applicant. This is a companion item with item 6. This also is an evidentiary hearing, so if there are folks who are going to be speaking, then I'll ask them to be sworn in at the time. We have Mr. Price giving a staff presentation, and I'll turn it over to staff. Mr. Price.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Board. For the record, I'm Todd Price with the Urban Design Section. Item 5, SDP-9802-H9 for Cameron Grove, Lot 30, Block A. Request approval of the homeowner's minor amendment to construct a 16-foot by 13-foot sunroom with a new deck foundation at the rear of an existing single-family detached dwelling. Due to the configuration of the lot, the proposed addition will encroach into the rear yard setback, and therefore the application seeks relief from the required 10-foot rear setback. This application has been reviewed and evaluated in accordance with the prior zoning ordinance. The Urban Design Section recommends the Planning Board adopt the findings of the technical staff report and approve SDP-9802-89 with the conditions found in the report. The applicant has reviewed the technical staff report and is in full agreement. Staff would like to add that in addition to item 5, item 6 is a same-day resolution for this application to be considered immediately following Planning Board's action on item 5. This concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Price. If there's no questions for staff, is the applicant present? We have Whitney Gischel on the line? No? And I also see Mr. Minert signed up to speak. Mr. Minert, are you still on the line, and anything you want to add on this? No and no. All right, it's pretty straightforward, commissioners. I will close the hearing and look to you all. If there's no deliberation, what is your pleasure on this item?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the findings of staff and approve SDP-9802-H9 along with the condition as outlined in staff's report.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Washington, a second by Commissioner Giraldo, I think.
Yes.
Any discussion on the motion? If not, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Washington.
And vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
Vice Chair Bailey.
Vote aye.
I vote aye as well. The ayes have it 4-0. Thank you, Mr. Price. So let's go right to item 6, the companion item, SDP, draft resolution for the item. It's PGCPB number 2024-034 SDP 9802 H9 Cameron Grove, lot 30, block A. Mr. Price, anything you have to add on this?
No, Mr. Chairman.
And we still don't have the representative of the applicant here. Just doing my due diligence, nothing. Staff recommends approval of this item. Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Move approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Washington, second by Commissioner Giraldo. If there's no discussion, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
Vice Chair Bailey.
Vote aye.
I vote aye as well. The ayes have it 4-0. Thank you, Mr. Price.
Thank you.
Oh, actually, don't go away yet, right?
Yep.
Next item 7, Conservation Plan CPB 2023-01, Vista Way Phase 2 Drainage Improvements. We have Ms. Wagner, who's representing the applicant, and Mr. Price will be giving the staff presentation. This also is an evidentiary hearing, so if there's anyone besides the representative of the applicant or Mr. Price, obviously not as speaking, I'll swear them in at the time. Let's start with staff presentation. Mr. Price.
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Board. For the record, I'm Todd Price with the zoning section. Item 7, Chesapeake Bay Critical Area Plan CBP-2023-001 for Vista Way Phase 2 drainage improvements. Requests approval to install storm drainage improvements to alleviate flooding conditions affecting several private residential properties. The Prince George's County Department of the Environment submitted this application for a public capital improvement project. This application was reviewed pursuant to the current zoning ordinance. These properties fall within the RR and ROS zone, as well as the Chesapeake Bay Critical Area designations LDO and RCO. The zoning section recommends the Planning Board adopt the findings of the technical staff report and approve CBP-2023-001 with the conditions found in the report. The applicant has reviewed the technical staff report and is in full agreement. Staff has not received any community feedback or opposition to this application. This concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Mr. Price. If there's no questions for staff, Ms. Wagner, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Ms. Tallarico, do we need to swear Ms. Wagner in?
Yes, you do. This is an evidentiary hearing.
Okay.
But she's not. Ms. Wagner, we don't need to see you, but we can't see you. We can only hear you.
Yeah, I don't know why my camera is not working. I'm trying to figure that out.
That's fine. So if you could raise your right hand, and we'll imagine you raising your right hand.
I am.
You solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, great. All right, take it away. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, I'm Amanda Wagner with KCI Technologies, working on behalf with the Prince George's County Department of the Environment. Jerome, I believe, is also on the call with us. I honestly have nothing further to add, but respectfully request that the Chesapeake Bay Conservation Plan be approved. And thank you to Mr. Price for getting us through this process.
That's fine. That's perfect. Commissioners, any questions for the applicant or for staff? There's no one else who signed up to speak. I'll close the hearing and turn over to us for any deliberation. And if there is none, what is your pleasure on this item?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the findings of staff and approve CBP-2023-001 along with the conditions as outlined in staff's report.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Washington, a second by Commissioner Giraldo. If there's no discussion, I will call the roll. Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye, and I'm glad that the county is addressing the stormwater management along those lots.
Yeah, well said. Appreciate that. And Vice Chair Bailey.
Vote aye.
I vote aye as well. The ayes have it 4-0. Thank you, Ms. Wagner, and thank you, Mr. Price.
Thank you.
Last item on our agenda is item 9 under our regular agenda items. This is a detailed site plan DSP 23012 Walker Mill self-storage. This case was continued from planning board meeting April 11, 2024. Mr. Gordon is representing the applicant, and Mr. Huang will be giving the staff presentation. This also is an evidentiary hearing, so I'll swear in anyone else who's going to be speaking. I think that's it. Yeah, Mr. Huang, turn over to you. We can't hear you, Mr. Huang. No, not yet. No, still nothing. Nope. Nothing yet. You want a 5-minute break?
Yes, Mr. Chair, let's take a quick 5-minute break. That'll work.
Okay. All right. The time is 10:49. We're going to be on recess until 10:55. See you all in a few minutes. Our planning board is back in session after a brief recess. We have before us item 9 on our agenda, DSP 23012 Walker Mill self-storage. We have Mr. Wong who will be giving a staff presentation. And take it away, sir. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Again, let me check the sound.
We can hear you fine.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Apology for the sound issues. Good morning, Mr. Chair and member of the planning board. For the record, I'm Emery Huang, with Urban Design Section. Item number 9 is detailed site plan DSP-23012 Walker Mill self-storage, which requests to develop the property with 104,122 square feet of consolidated storage use with 1,250 square feet of office space, 1,750 square feet of retail and community space, and 28 parking spaces designated for RV or camping trailer as accessory use. As matter of housekeeping, prior to May 14th, noon deadline, staff received 2 documents from the applicant, which are titled Applicant Exhibit 1 and 2 respectively. Applicant Exhibit 1 shows that a notice of the April 16 community virtual meeting was distributed to all adjoining property owners, registered associations, municipalities within a mile, and previous party of records on March 27, 2024. This April 16th community meeting was the reason for the applicants to request the planning board to continue this application from April 11 to today, which is May 16, and their request was approved at the April 11 planning board meeting. Applicant Exhibit 2 is an email that Mr. Matt Golden, the applicant's attorney, who wrote to Ms. Maurice Harris in response to Ms. Harris's email to the planning board on March 30, 2024. Ms. Harris' email indicated that he opposes this DSP because of perceived overconcentration of the consolidated storage facility. Applicant Exhibit 2 indicates that Mr. Golden provided Mr. Harris additional details of the proposed project. In addition, staff notes that because consolidated storage is permitted in the I-1 zone, the planning board cannot deny the DSP due to overconcentration of such development. As required by the section 27-475.04C, pages 12 to 13 of the staff report, provide an inventory of the consolidated storage facilities within 1/2 mile of the subject property. And the resolution of the approval for those facilities are in the backup for the board's consideration in approving this DSP. Staff found that the conditions of approval for those consolidated storage facilities irrelevant to the required finding for approving this DSP. Also, staff want to note that staff received multiple inquiries from Ms. Patricia Rodriguez during the review of this DSP application. Her concerns are summarized on page 24 of the staff report and focus on the environmental impact, potential crime, and compatibility. This DSP meets applicable environmental requirements, specifically the staff report, including finding of the conformance to the Woodland and Wildlife Habitat Conservation Ordinance and the Tree Canopy Coverage Ordinance on page 19. As detailed on the page 21 to 22 of the staff report, the proposed development preserves the site's regulated environmental features to the fullest extent practicable. Regarding the crimes and compatibility issues, sufficient buffering between these consolidated storage use and the nearby residences is provided through existing vegetation and proposed landscaping, which means the requirements of the section 4.7 of the 2010 Landscape Manual. For the record, staff also want to make an administrative correction on the cover sheet and page 3 of the staff report. The code references in the published report shows section 27-1704B. This code reference needs to be corrected to section 27-1903C and will be addressed in the resolution. Urban Design staff recommends that the planning board adopt the finding of this report and approve the detailed site plan DSP-23012 and type 2 conservation plan TCP2-027-2020-01, subject to the recommended conditions of approval within the technical staff report and the corrections stated in the staff presentation. This concludes the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Huang. I appreciate the level of detail in the report. Very helpful. I also appreciate you very specifically referencing the community's inquiries and concerns. It's helpful for us to hear that as well. Much appreciated. Commissioners, if there's no questions for staff, then we'll turn to the applicant, the attorney representing the applicant, Mr. Gordon. Take it away. Anything you want to add?
Good morning, Chair Shapiro and Commissioners. Matthew Gordon from the law firm of Selzer Gurvich on behalf of the applicant, Walker Mill Road Project LLC. We appreciate planning staff's thorough staff report and all their guidance through the last several months. We're in full agreement with them on the conditions of approval. And I just wanted to highlight that we did do some community outreach last summer at the early stage of the process. We went to the adjacent neighborhood association, Ritchie Manor and Ritchie Heights, and presented to them in person. And then we also presented to the ANC group for District 6. And we wanted to provide one additional opportunity. So we scheduled that virtual meeting earlier this spring to provide additional chances for feedback. And one of the items that we included in the project was this sort of retail and or community space that we've programmed into the building. And we've asked the local association, the neighborhood, to provide us with input on tenants or uses. So we're excited about the opportunity to incorporate something into the project that would draw others than future customers of this self-storage facility. But with that, I would just say that the detailed site plan meets all the required findings under the zoning ordinance, the prior zoning ordinance as grandfathered, and we would respectfully request the planning board's approval. and the rest of the design team, including the applicant, we're here to answer any questions that may arise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Commissioners, any questions for the applicant on this item? Don't see any. We have no one who signed up to speak on this item. So I will close the public hearing, and commissioners, that is to us for any deliberation, or if not, I would look for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the findings of staff to include the technical corrections as noted by staff on the record, and with that approve DSP-23012 and TCP2-027-2020-01, along with the conditions as outlined in staff's report.
Second.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Washington, a second by Commissioner Giraldo.
Yes.
Discussion on the motion. Just appreciate all the work that's gone into this. Thank you, Mr. Wong, and thank you, Mr. Gordon. If there's no further discussion, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
Vice Chair Bailey. I saw a vote aye. I vote aye as well. The ayes, that's it. The ayes have it 4-0. Thanks again, Mr. Gordon. Thank you, Mr. Wong. Commissioners, I don't think we have any further business before us. Mr. Hunt, are we missing anything?
Chairman, there are no additional business items before you today, but I did want to let the planning board know that we did have a very successful graduation ceremony last night with the Neighborhood Planning Academy. It was a lot of great people who showed up, a lot of great presentations. A lot of folks contributed a lot to the event. And so I will say this, it was amazing to hear all the contributions and all the recommendations that they provided for improvements to their community, and shows that they actually are learning, getting a lot from the Neighborhood Planning Academy. So just really excited. Want to make sure I shared that with you all.
I really appreciate that. Yeah.
That's great.
Can I suggest, and this is for my colleagues too, from the last Planning Academy that I wasn't able to make it last night, unfortunately, but for the last one that I attended, I actually got a copy of all the presentations that each member got, and it was fascinating stuff. I wonder if you can take last night's and sort of make it available, sort of, member by member, and get that out to the board. You'll really enjoy the meeting.
Yep.
Absolutely. We'll work on that.
That would be great to see.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. No further business before us. Without objection, we are adjourned. Have a good rest of the week, everybody.
Everybody.
Have a good one. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.